Welcome to number 17 in our series on getting started this autumn. And we're going to be looking at how to set up assessments, taking them from the basics that we talked about last time, as far as having a threshold assessment for pass-fail and higher level assessments. And welcome back to our example that we described last time from a physiotherapy course, where the aim is to try and unify the quality of teaching across Europe, and the experiment that Maya and Griselda ran.
The most challenging part for us was to design these competences and indicator sheet, which is the way in which we assess students. In fact, students use the concept teacher's talk to refer that sometimes when they go through the materials we generated, they don't understand what is expected from them. And in this way, it took quite a long time to finish this product. After that, we had the opportunity to talk to Terry, and he gave us some insights on how to better improve this assessment form. I hope you enjoy his recommendations on the talk.
Now, this is a version of the competence list that we've just looked at, and what I've done here is I've tried to do a little bit of rationalizing around the competences, looking at whether there are some overlaps between the learning outcomes, whether some of them are asking the question if some of them are more important or critical than others, and to try and work out where elements of being able to synthesize some sort of diagnosis or recommendation from a series of different inputs where that all fits together. So this was a list, and the first thing that I had was some questions, and then the question is, how do we turn that into something useful? And here's one way of doing it. This is just an example. This is not saying this is how it should be done. This is not saying this is any better than the way that the course is currently being run, but this is an attempt to explore how you might use the ideas that we've been discussing for a number of weeks now. So what I've done on the left-hand side is to list the competences, the physiotherapy competences, the communication competences, and then the professional competences that are expected. And from that, to produce a series of learning outcomes. And then I've done the other thing that we spoke about, which was to try and describe what those learning outcomes might look like at pass-fail level, at that threshold. And then what you want to do is to think a bit about what the learning outcomes might look like at higher levels. And so, for instance, the physiotherapy skills, you might say at pass-fail level that some physiotherapists should be able to manage an examination so that the patient's always safe. At higher levels, you want to explore the extent to which that physiotherapist is able to run examinations that set patients at their ease, so they're free to demonstrate the full functionality and raise any issues of relevance. So I hope that you can see there a connection between how you're going to assess at pass-fail and the scope that you want to give yourself for setting grades at higher levels. So let's start putting this together now. We've got a pass-fail threshold, and we've got a series of learning outcomes at pass level, which you can write an assessment for or produce an assessment for in whatever form you want. So now you have a lot more freedom at this stage than you had before, because everybody who will attempt this assessment will already have passed the module at basic level, at pass-fail level. And so you can set up your learning outcomes to allow plenty of space at the top end for students to distinguish themselves with their mastery of the discipline. Or you could even think about bringing together different modules and having a single synoptic assessment that shows how well they can integrate their knowledge across those modules. But the key thing is that you now need to be able to set up your learning outcomes at the higher levels. So if we look at this, you've got, in the example that we had, you've got a series of things that you're trying to demonstrate, and what you want to do is to break those down to decide where the CB boundary is and where the BA boundary is and where the AA star boundary is, or the AA plus or the A plus A star boundary are. Those are the sorts of things that you're going to be looking at, and that should allow you to really push this ahead and do exceptionally well, both in getting students through the module and then allowing them to spread out according to their skill. So I'm available. Here are my coordinates. Love to hear from you.